In this video, we are going to be considering the structure and functioning of the heart. In anatomy, you are looking at someone else's organs. Let's take an instance that you, the viewer, you are looking at my organ, the heart. This will be my left, L, and this will be my right, R. So we shall start by drawing the structure of the heart. The heart has 4 chambers in particular. The upper chambers, which are called the atria, and the lower chambers, which are called the ventricles. So we have the lower chambers, which are the ventricles, and our left ventricle has a thicker muscle than the right ventricle. The significance of the left ventricle having a thicker muscle is because the left ventricle is pumping blood all over the body, to the head, to the upper limbs, to the lower limbs, to the abdomen. So it is pumping blood to a longer distance, and blood is facing a greater resistance. So it will require more muscular work, more muscular contractions. That's why the left ventricle has thicker muscles. Whereas for the sake of the right ventricle, its muscles are smaller, or they are thinner rather. This is because it is pushing deoxygenated blood to a shorter distance, just to the lungs, which are just beside on either sides of the heart. From our left ventricle, we have a blood vessel, an artery, which carries blood away from the left ventricle. And this blood vessel, our artery, is separated from the left ventricle by a set of valves. Which are pointing up the way. And these valves are known as the aortic valves. They're known as the aortic valves. But they can also be called the aortic semilunar valves. Why semilunar? Because they have that shape of the moon, half moon. So we have this blood vessel, our artery, going up the way, and this artery is known as the aorta. It pumps blood, it moves blood from the left ventricle all across the body, other than the lungs. So it takes blood through the systemic circulation. Then we have our other set of valves at this point. These valves separate the left ventricle from the atrium, the left atrium. So we shall have our left atrium here, continuing. And this left atrium, actually it has 4 blood vessels draining blood into it. And these blood vessels are known as the pulmonary veins. But here we are only going to indicate 2, but there are 4. 2 from each of the lungs. 2 from the left lung and 2 from the right lung. So, one thing you need to note might be that the logic behind when we are giving these names to these blood vessels, what do we depend on to say that one is a vein or the other is an artery? You can simply note that all blood vessels carrying blood towards the heart are called veins. Whereas all blood vessels carrying blood away from the heart are called arteries. So a vein is a blood vessel which is carrying blood towards the heart, whereas an artery is a blood vessel carrying blood away from the heart. So this set of blood vessels, this set of valves separating the ventricle, the left ventricle from the left atrium, are known as the mitral valves. Mitral valves. But they can also be called bicuspid valves. Why are they called bicuspid valves? Because they have 2 cusps. They have 2 cusps. So, when we move to the right ventricle, we have a blood vessel carrying blood from the right ventricle to the lungs. The lungs are termed as, they can be termed as pulmonary. Pulmonary means lungs. So, because of that, because this blood vessel is carrying blood from the ventricle, the right ventricle, to the lungs for oxygenation, it's going to be called pulmonary. That's the first thing. Pulmonary. But we have a wire that is carrying blood away from the heart, away from heart to the lungs. So it means it's called an artery. So we shall say pulmonary artery. So pulmonary artery, carrying blood to, so artery away from the heart. Pulmonary lungs, so carrying blood away from the heart to the lungs. So pulmonary artery. It is separated from the ventricle by a set of valves that point up the way. And these valves are known as the pulmonary valves, or you can call them pulmonary semilunar valves. Why? Semilunar because they are lunar shaped like half moon. So these ones are the pulmonary semilunar valves. Then the right ventricle is separated from the right atrium by a set of valves that move down the way, and they are known as the tricuspid valves. They are known as the tricuspid valves. They are the tricuspid valves. Tricuspid, tri meaning 3. Tri, 3. Then cusps. So it means they are made of 3 cusps. 1, 2, 3. 3 cusps. Then we have our atrium here, the right atrium. Into it, we have 2 huge blood vessels draining blood into it. And these blood vessels, in fact, they are the largest blood vessels. They are the largest blood vessels in the body. And they are collectively known as the venae or vena cava. Collectively known as the vena cava. One brings blood, returns blood from the upper part of the body, the head, and this one is known as the superior vena cava. Whereas the other returns blood from the lower part of the body, the limbs and so on, and it's known as the inferior vena cava. Superior vena cava, returning blood from the upper part of the body, the head and the neck. Inferior vena cava, returning blood from the lower part of the body, that is the lower limbs, upper limbs, thoracic region, abdominal region, and so on. Now, we can go further to the histological part of the anatomy of the heart. So, the heart, when we look at the outer part of the heart, the outer part, it is known as the pericardium, this outer part, the outer part of the heart. The outer layer of the heart is known as the pericardium. Pericardium. Peri meaning outside, perimeter, the outer part. Cardium meaning heart. So pericardium, outside of the heart. The inner layer lining the inside of the heart, the inner layer lining the inside of the heart, this inner layer here, lining all through the inside of the heart, is known as the endocardium. Endocardium. Endo meaning inside, endo, inside. Cardium, heart. So, inside of the heart, endocardium. This muscle, the muscular part of the heart, the inside part, we can shade it blue. The inside part of the heart, this muscle here. This muscle here is known as myocardium. So we can call it myocardium. Myo means muscle. Cardium, heart. Cardium means heart. So, muscle of the heart. Myocardium. Muscle of the heart. Then, this wall, which is separating the left side of the heart from the right side of the heart. In fact, the left side of the heart can also be called the body pump. Why? It pumps blood. Pumps blood, perforating all the body. Whereas the right side of the heart can be called the pulmonary pump or lung pump. It's called lung pump because it is pumping blood to the lungs. To the lungs. Body pump, it pumps blood all through the other body parts other than the lungs. Body pump, pulmonary pump. So, this muscle separating the body pump from the pulmonary pump is known as the cardiac septum. Cardiac septum. Cardiac septum. Cardiac means heart. Septum, something separating. So in anatomy, any mass of tissue which separates two organs or which separates components of an organ are known as septum. So we can say cardiac septum, meaning a muscle separating the heart. So cardiac septum. Cardiac heart septum separates. So can be known as that. Now when we further go on, in fact there's something interesting here. When you look at the endocardium, endo, inside, cardiac heart, inside of the heart, this layer here, it is made up of smooth squamous. So it is smooth squamous endothelial cells or endothelial tissue. So it is made up of smooth squamous endothelial tissue. So it is very smooth. The main aim of that is to allow smooth flow of blood through the heart. Smooth flow. So they are just in such a format. So smooth squamous endothelial tissue to allow smooth flow of blood through the heart. And this is very essential in controlling clotting. It prevents clotting, yeah. In case, if we take an instance, if the walls of the heart, the endothelium, if it had been very rough, that would mean it would stimulate blood clotting, which would result into blood clots in the heart. Thrombocytes would be formed actually. And this layer, which lines the endothelium, this layer, it is the same layer lining the walls of the blood vessels. Same reason, same explanation, same physiology. It's the same smooth squamous endothelial tissue, mainly to allow smooth flow of blood through the heart and the blood vessels. Yeah. Away from that, when you consider our valves, the valves are actually rooted. These valves, they are rooted into the walls of the heart by specialized tissue known as tendinous cords. Tendinous cords. Which tendinous cords are attached to papillary muscles which go deep into the walls of the heart. So we have tendinous cords, this, and then the papillary muscles. And the main aim of this is to prevent backflow of blood. As the blood is moving through the heart, it's not meant to regurgitate. So we can call it regurgitation. Regurgitation. So to prevent backflow of blood. To prevent backflow of blood. Preventing regurgitation. Thank you very much. Don't forget to like and subscribe. That would actually support us as the channel so that we can create more content. Let's learn together. I remain Clinician Robin.